Imagine a place so vast that light itself takes 25,000 years to reach us from its heart. There, at the very center of our Milky Way, lies a silence older than time, a silence wrapped around a hidden star that isn't a star at all. Sagittarius A, asterisk, the sleeping giant, the quiet heartbeat of our galaxy. For countless eons, it has rested in near stillness, stirring only in whispers, faint radio, murmurs, soft pulses of invisible light that travel across the void like the sighs of a dreaming god. But tonight in our story, the silence begins to shift. Something in the deep, dark moves. Hey guys, tonight we're taking a slow, quiet journey into that heart of darkness, into the moment when the black hole at the center of the Milky Way begins to wake and feed. You don't need to do anything now. Just let your breath find its rhythm. Feel your thoughts drift outward, as if each exhale carries you farther into the stars. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you'd like, share your location and the time where you are watching from. I love reading how this small channel connects so many corners of the world under one sky. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. For hundreds of years, astronomers believed the heart of our galaxy was just dust and stars. They saw a brilliant cluster in Sagittarius and thought it was simply a dense gathering of light. But when radio telescopes arrived, the illusion began to unravel. Behind that golden glow was something far more mysterious, a gravitational well, millions of times the mass of our Sunday. It sat there in absolute stillness, warping space and time like a hidden whirlpool in a cosmic sea. Sagittarius A times is what scientists call a supermassive black hole. 4 million suns compressed into a single point, invisible yet dominant. Around it, stars orbit at breathtaking speeds, whipping through space like sparks from a wheel. One of them, a bright blue star named S2, completes a full orbit in just 16 years. When it swings closest, it moves at more than 5,000 kilometers per second, fast enough to circle Earth in less than a minute. And all of that speed, all of that fury, is driven by something that cannot even be seen. But even black holes have moods. Most of the time, Sagittarius A time sleeps. It's calm, barely feeding content to let gas and dust drift by without appetite. Only occasionally does it stir. A stray cloud, a wandering star, some fragment of matter that strays too close, and suddenly gravity remembers its hunger. Imagine that moment. A quiet sea of interstellar gas slowly curling inward. Invisible tendrils of gravity pulling it tighter and tighter until friction sparks heat and light. The first flare bursts out, traveling 26,000 light-years to reach us. Astronomers on Earth see it as a brief shimmer, a blink in X-rays lasting no longer than a heartbeat. But for the black hole, it's the beginning of a feast. Near the event horizon, the point of no return space becomes syrup thick. Time itself begins to drag. If you could float nearby, seconds would stretch like taffy, each heartbeat lasting 1,000 years. The closer you drift, the slower time moves, until even the universe outside seems to race ahead. To an observer, the infalling gas would appear to freeze, forever suspended at the edge of the void, glowing one last time before fading into darkness. And yet inside that darkness, something extraordinary happens. Energy, light, and matter intertwine in impossible ways. The feeding of Sagittarius A times is not chaos, but a kind of slow, luminous breathing. the black hole inhales stars and exhales radiation. It shapes the balance of the galaxy itself, guiding how new stars are born, how dust drifts, how the Milky Way shines. If you listen closely, and tonight, that's all you need to do, you might almost hear it. A low hum beneath the static of the cosmos, the heartbeat of the galaxy. Every galaxy has one. A hidden core, a gravity well wrapped in silence. Ours just happens to be waking. And as it does, we begin our journey inward to see what happens when darkness itself begins to dream. Far away from the galactic center, a lone star drifts through the Milky Way. To the naked eye, it would look unremarkable, a tiny spark among billions. But to Sagittarius A, times it is destiny in motion. Gravity, invisible and patient, begins its ancient pull. The star doesn't yet know it has been chosen. Its orbit over millions of years starts to bend inward, a slow descent into eternity. The galaxy itself hardly notices. Stars live, move, and die all the time. Yet this one's path has meaning. Every revolution brings it closer to the dark heart of the Milky Way, closer to the region where time folds, light stumbles, and nothing ever returns. At first, the motion is gentle. You could imagine the star floating in peace, surrounded by its planets, its flares of golden light spilling quietly into space. But deep beneath it, the pull is relentless. Even across light years, Sagittarius A times exerts its influence, as though the universe itself is breathing inward. The star's journey is not quick. In cosmic terms, it's a ballet that unfolds over ages. Each orbit decays a little, stealing momentum. The once stable ellipse begins to tilt and twist, like a candle caught in a slow whirlpool of gravity. You might picture it gliding through a river of starlight, the flow of space-time itself bending around it. As it moves deeper into the galactic core, the view changes. The darkness thickens. Around it, stars crowd closer together, their paths tangled like silver threads pulled toward a common center. Gas clouds drift in colossal arcs, illuminated by bursts of ultraviolet radiation. Magnetic fields twist the light into spirals, and filaments a silent storm surrounding a place where even photons lose their way. From the star's perspective, it might almost look like an approach toward dawn, a growing brilliance ahead, the glow of matter already swirling into Sagittarius A, asterisks, accretion disk. But that light is a mirage, a halo born of destruction. Every atom that falls inward releases energy blazing brighter than a million suns before vanishing forever. If you could stand on a planet orbiting that doomed star, the sky would be unlike anything seen from Earth. The galactic core would dominate the heavens, dense with stars, their light interwoven in soft golds and blues. Nebulae would shimmer like breath, and streaks of ionized gas would trace silent lightning across the void. You might even see far off the faint pulse of the supermassive black hole itself, an invisible rhythm, a beacon of gravitational power. With each passing millennium, the orbit tightens. The star begins to feel the strain, its outer layers tugged and distorted by tides so immense they could tear worlds apart. Waves of gravity ripple through its surface. Flares erupt without warning, hurling plasma into space as if the star itself is crying out in resistance. Yet resistance is futile. The closer it comes, the faster it falls. Its velocity climbs until it races through space at thousands of kilometers per second, a comet of living fire spiraling toward its own end, back on Earth. Astronomers trace the journey through telescopes and simulations. They watch as Sagittarius A times brightens, slightly feeding on gas, hinting that something is approaching. The radio emissions flicker. X-rays pulse like a heartbeat, skipping a beat. For now, the black hole waits, still hungry patient. To imagine this moment is to witness one of the universe's most exquisite paradoxes, destruction that creates beauty. The dying star's light will travel outward, perhaps to be seen by eyes like ours, thousands of centuries later. Its atoms, once part of a blazing sun, will soon be scattered into subatomic fragments, but even that loss becomes part of the galactic rhythm, fueling new stars, new worlds, new stories. The approach continues. The gravity deepens. Space stretches around the star like fabric drawn tight. The closer it falls, the slower time seems to move. 1,000 years could pass between each heartbeat. To distant observers, the descent appears frozen, the star hovering forever on the edge of annihilation. But within that frozen image, it is racing faster than ever, spiraling into the inevitable. And somewhere beyond the visible, beyond the veil of light, Sagittarius A time stirs. A ripple passes through the surrounding gas. The black hole's magnetic field twists and flickers. The feast is near. The star's final moments are a kind of cosmic surrender. It yields to the pull, stretched and torn, transformed into a luminous stream of plasma. That stream whirls once, twice, and then falls beyond sight. Its matter absorbed, its light extinguished, but not its story. For a brief instant, the galaxy glows, with its memory, a pulse that crosses time and space to reach us here, whispering that nothing truly vanishes, it only changes form. And as the last traces fade, the Milky Way exhales. The dance continues. The heart of darkness beats on, slow and eternal. Imagine falling towards something you can never touch. Ahead lies a circle of darkness, perfectly round, perfectly silent, the event horizon. It is the border where the known world ends and the laws of physics bend until they break. Beyond it, not even light can return. It isn't a wall you could see or feel, but a threshold in the fabric of reality itself. The star that once burned so brightly has now crossed that invisible line. From afar, you might think it still hovers there, glowing faintly, stretched into a smear of golden light. But that's an illusion. What you see is the last echo of photons fighting their way outward, slowed by gravity, until they seem almost still. To us it looks eternal, the image of a star frozen in its final breath. Yet within that moment, time has already dissolved. The event horizon marks the ultimate point of no return. Imagine standing near it, though no one ever could. Space around you curves downward, like the mouth of a vast well. Every direction leads inward. Even if you shone a beam of light forward, it would arc back toward you, spiraling into the hole's gravity. The closer you are, the more the universe itself seems to fade. It's not death in the human sense. It's transformation. Everything that crosses the horizon is still there, in some form, but hidden behind a veil that no information can pass through. Matter becomes geometry. Energy becomes curvature. Inside, all paths lead to one destination, the singularity, a place where density becomes infinite and equations cease to make sense. Einstein's theory predicts this inevitability, but even he never truly believed nature would allow such extremes. He imagined some limit, some mechanism that would prevent a collapse into absolute nothingness. But the universe had other plans. When the first black holes were confirmed, they were not only real, they were everywhere. At the edge of Sagittarius A, times the event horizon measures about 25 million kilometers across, smaller than the orbit of Mercury, yet massive enough to hold 4 million suns. Around it, matter glows as it falls inward, creating an accretion disk so hot that it radiates X-rays into the void. The light curves around the hole, forming the eerie halo we've come to recognize from images captured by the Event Horizon Telescope. That faint orange ring is not the black hole itself. It's the boundary where light barely escapes before surrendering to darkness. If you could float there, not falling in, not yet, you would witness the universe distorted beyond imagination. Stars behind you would appear pulled into arcs of light. The galaxy itself would seem to wrap around you, mirrored and multiplied. Every photon follows a path, warped by gravity, so that the sky becomes a whirlpool of reflections, the cosmos folding in on itself. It would be beautiful, terrifying, and unspeakably quiet. The whisper of the event horizon is not sound. It's the hum of space-time, the faint oscillation of gravitational waves rippling outward as the black hole consumes matter. Each vibration carries a story of stars, unmade of energy, transformed of time itself, flowing into silence. These waves travel through the Milky Way, like the softest breath imaginable, crossing thousands of light years to reach us. When scientists record them, they're not just listening to collisions, they're hearing the heartbeat of gravity. Closer still, time slows until it nearly stops. To someone watching from afar, you would seem to linger at the horizon forever. Your final wave, your last flash of light, would hang, suspended, endlessly delayed, red-shifted until it fades from view. From your own perspective, though, you would fall in swiftly, unaware of the universe outside racing ahead. The paradox is that both experiences are true. That's the strange poetry of black holes. Two realities coexisting, neither wrong, both incomplete. Inside the horizon, time and space switch roles. Movement forward becomes movement inward. The future points not ahead, but down. Everything that enters is drawn together into a single thread of destiny, to merge with the singularity. And yet even here, mystery persists. Some physicists believe that information, the purest essence of what falls in, is not lost, but somehow encoded on the event horizon itself, like the surface of a cosmic hologram. In that theory, the black hole doesn't erase history. It stores it compressed beyond comprehension. Every particle, every photon, every whisper of energy remains written in the pattern of space-time. Nothing forgotten, only transformed. As Sagittarius A times feeds, this invisible boundary trembles, faintly expanding by the smallest measurable degree. It grows not in noise or flame, but in silence. The event horizon doesn't roar when it devours. It simply deepens, like a breath drawn inward, waiting for the next exhale of radiation that will one day, perhaps eons from now, let it fade again. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, picture that horizon not as an ending but as a threshold. Beyond it lies the unknown, the infinite, the place where all things go to become something new. The whisper of the event horizon isn't a warning. It's an invitation, a promise that even in absolute darkness, the universe still hums with quiet creation. There are moments in the universe when destruction and beauty become indistinguishable, when chaos itself turns luminous. Around Sagittarius A, times that moment is eternal. The space just outside the event horizon blazes with energy, forming what astronomers call an accretion disk, a swirling river of fire, a halo of matter drawn from the edges of dying stars. From afar, it looks serene, a smooth golden ring encircling darkness. But within that ring, reality is tearing itself apart. Gas and dust whirl at nearly the speed of light, colliding, compressing, and heating until atoms themselves begin to scream. Temperatures climb to millions of degrees. The light released here is so intense it would vaporize anything that came near. Yet it radiates through the vacuum of space, cool and soundless. This river doesn't flow with water, it flows with time. The closer you move toward the black hole, the slower moments pass. Each fragment of matter spiraling inward experiences eternity in a second, while for distant observers, the process stretches on forever. The illusion is almost paradoxical, something burning so fast it appears frozen. Imagine floating safely above it, watching the river spin. Its colors are not those of flame, but of pure physics, blues shifting to gold, gold to crimson as the light is stretched by gravity. Every orbit within that maelstrom is a balance between surrender and survival. Too slow, and the matter falls in. Too fast, and it's flung into interstellar night. Between those fates lies the razor-thin path of the accretion disk, where energy becomes light and time becomes liquid. Every particle in this inferno tells a story of origin and return. Hydrogen born in the first seconds after the Big Bang. Carbon forged in the hearts of ancient suns. Iron released when supernovae died. All of it drawn here, converging again at the galaxy's center, as if the cosmos itself were recycling its memories. Astronomers studying Sagittarius A times often describe its outbursts as flares, but the term hardly captures their majesty. These flares are not explosions in the traditional sense. They are breaths, quick, violent inhalations of matter, followed by waves of radiation. When the black hole feeds, its brightness can rise 100-fold in minutes. Then, just as suddenly it fades, as if exhaling into silence again. We've seen these moments from Earth. In 2019, telescopes across the planet detected one such flare, the brightest ever recorded from Sagittarius A*. For a few hours it shone like a miniature sun, then disappeared back into invisibility. Some scientists believe these events mark the swallowing of stray gas clouds. Others think they are magnetic storms born in the twisted fields surrounding the hole. Whatever their cause, they remind us that even in dormancy, the heart of the galaxy is alive. If we could travel closer, we'd find that the river of fire isn't smooth but turbulent, rippling with eddies and waves of plasma. Magnetic fields twist like serpents through the flow, trapping and releasing energy in unpredictable bursts. The gas moves faster than any storm on Earth, so fast that time itself warps around it. A minute here could equal hours elsewhere in the galaxy. You might wonder what it feels like for matter to fall towards such a fate. In the final moments, before the plunge, atoms are stretched and shredded by tidal forces, their structures torn apart and rearranged. What was once the body of a star becomes a thin ribbon of glowing plasma, spiraling in endless circles before disappearing forever. It's a process scientists poetically call spaghettification, and while the name sounds light-hearted, it describes one of the most violent transformations in the cosmos. And yet the violence is not meaningless. The light that escapes the disk travels outward for thousands of years, illuminating nebulae striking planetary dust, helping future stars to form. Even destruction gives birth to creation. In that sense, the accretion disk is not a grave but a forge, a cosmic kiln where matter is broken down and reborn. In a strange way, Sagittarius A times behaves like an artist. It gathers fragments of the universe, crushes them into brilliance, and releases that brilliance back into the void. Each flare, each photon, is a brushstroke on the invisible canvas of space-time. And while the painting changes with every heartbeat of the galaxy, the center remains unchanged, a shadow surrounded by fire. The rhythm of this feeding, this burning, is ancient. It has repeated for billions of years and will continue long after humanity is gone. From time to time, the black hole wakes to feed. Then, for centuries, it rests. These are the breaths of a cosmic creature, too vast for us to truly comprehend, inhaling starlight, exhaling time. And somewhere between those breaths, the Milky Way lives. Its arms spin its suns, ignite its planets' dream. The river of fire keeps flowing unseen by most, yet sustaining the galactic heartbeat. Every night, when we look at the faint band of stars across our sky, we are seeing the ripples of that motion, the slow pulse of a giant dreaming in the dark. So as you drift now, imagine that river beneath you, endless, soundless, bright, beyond imagination. Picture the light twisting and folding, bending space itself as it travels outward. Let its rhythm match your breathing. Let it remind you that everything in the universe moves, feeds, transforms. Even darkness burns, if you know how to look closely enough. At the edge of infinity, hunger awakens. Sagittarius A, times the sleeping titan of our galaxy, stirs. What was once calm and silent begins to glow with faint light, a signal that the feeding has begun. Around it, matter trembles, collapsing inward like autumn leaves caught in an unseen whirlpool. The black hole's appetite is not measured in hours or days, but in epochs. Its meals last millennia. If you could witness this from a distance, you wouldn't see chaos. You'd see grace, a slow, mesmerizing spiral of fire. Streams of gas curve inward, glowing brighter with every rotation, forming a disk that seems alive. Inside, gravity reigns supreme, sculpting matter into thin ribbons of light. The airless void around the event horizon flickers with violent beauty. Bursts of X-rays, flashes of ultraviolet waves of radio energy rippling through the Milky Way. Each flash is a heartbeat, the pulse of a god devouring stars. But the black hole does not swallow in silence. As gas and dust fall inward, they collide at unimaginable speeds, producing shockwaves that send echoes throughout the galaxy. Astronomers call these outbursts flares, and when they occur, telescopes from Chile to Hawaii to orbiting satellites all turn toward the galactic center. For a few hours, the invisible becomes visible. Sagittarius A times flares like a torch in the cosmic night, then fades back into shadow. These outbursts are more than spectacle. They are messages. They tell us about the magnetic storms raging near the event horizon, about the dance between gravity and light. Every pulse, every flicker, is a data point in a story written across tens of thousands of light years. Humanity, with all its fragile instruments, listens like a child pressing an ear to the chest of a sleeping giant. And yet in the physics of this feast, there is elegance. The gas doesn't plunge straight in, it spirals. That motion creates friction. Friction creates heat, and heat creates radiation, the light that reaches us across the ages. Paradoxically, the act of destruction becomes the act of illumination. The more the black hole consumes, the more brilliantly it shines. For a moment, the Milky Way glows with its hunger. Inside the accretion disk, particles move faster than 90% of the speed of light. Time dilates. Seconds near the event horizon stretch into hours for anyone watching from afar. The disk is not uniform. Pockets of plasma swirl like eddies in a river, twisting magnetic fields into shapes more complex than anything on Earth. From these fields, jets of energy sometimes erupt, thin, straight beams that shoot thousands of light-years into space. Though Sagittarius A times is relatively quiet compared to other galactic centers, its potential is staggering. A single flare could outshine every star in the Milky Way for a brief instant. If we could see this directly, the scene would be hypnotic. The light would bend around the black hole, forming a glowing ring of distortion, the photon sphere, where light orbits the void before escaping. The hole itself would appear as a perfect circle of darkness, not because it's an object, but because it's the absence of everything. No reflection, no echo, no return. Every so often, the black hole swallows something larger, a wandering asteroid, a drifting cloud of gas, perhaps even the corpse of a dead star. When that happens, the entire region flares with radiation. The black hole, for a brief moment, becomes a lighthouse in the cosmic sea, and then it quiets again, as if satisfied, its glow fading, like embers cooling in ash. To imagine this process in human terms is impossible. The timescales are too vast, the energies too immense. Yet if you think of breathing the slow rise and fall of your chest, you come close. Sagittarius A times inhales matter and exhales energy. Each breath lasts centuries, and through those breaths, it keeps the galaxy balanced, recycling chaos into order. Even as it feeds, the black hole gives. The radiation it releases pushes surrounding gas outward, shaping the formation of stars, sculpting the Milky Way's spiral arms. The feast sustains the galaxy's evolution. Without it, the Milky Way would lose its rhythm, its luminous heart. And when the meal ends, when no more gas remains to consume, Sagittarius A times will grow still again. It will fade into the background hum of space, waiting, watching, dreaming. Centuries will pass. Civilizations may rise and fall, and somewhere in the darkness, a new cloud will drift too close, and the cycle will begin again. If you listen now, you might almost hear it. A deep vibration echoing through the fabric of space-time, slower than any heartbeat, older than any song, the sound of the galaxy feeding itself. In this moment, in this cosmic breath, light and darkness cease to be opposites. They become partners in an ancient dance. Matter gives itself willingly, and in return the void becomes radiant. The black hole feeds not to destroy, but to remember, to remind the universe that even in hunger there is harmony. And as the feast continues, as gravity hums and starlight bends, one truth remains: nothing is ever lost. What falls into darkness becomes the light of tomorrow. Light travels faster than anything we know yet. Even light takes 26,000 years to cross the gulf between Sagittarius A times and our tiny blue world. Every flare that bursts from the Milky Way's center is a message sent long before humanity ever existed, a whisper carried across time through dust, silence, and cold. When we finally receive it, we are hearing an echo of a moment long gone, like the fading ring of a bell that was struck in the age of creation. When Sagittarius A times feeds, it does not do so quietly. The surrounding plasma glows in X-rays, infrared, and radio waves, each frequency spreading through the galaxy like ripples through a dark ocean. The black hole's voice cannot be heard in sound, but it vibrates in the language of energy humming through space-time itself. Our telescopes, our instruments, are like seashells pressed to the ear of the cosmos, catching faint murmurs from a place that should not speak. Imagine drifting there somewhere in the outer arms of the galaxy, far from the center. You wouldn't see the flares with your eyes, but the interstellar medium, that thin mist of hydrogen and dust between the stars, would feel them. Each pulse compresses the gas, warming it, stirring it into motion. Over millions of years, these waves sculpt the galactic sea shaping, where stars will be born and where silence will remain. The Milky Way is not static. It breathes. It rises and falls in invisible rhythms, and the beating heart that drives that breath is Sagittarius A*. When the black hole feeds, the whole galaxy stirs. It is not an explosion, but a vibration, subtle, immense, continuous. We measure these pulses through a tapestry of light. Infrared telescopes like the Very Large Telescope in Chile or the Spitzer Space Observatory capture the heat. Radio observatories like ALMA and the Event Horizon Telescope trace the shape of the magnetic storms. X-ray, satellites, orbit, Earth catching high-energy bursts invisible to human eyes. Together they weave a picture of something enormous yet intimate, a cosmic heartbeat felt across space. In 2013, scientists detected a flare that traveled through the galaxy like a ghost wave. It came from Sagittarius A times its energy carried in invisible photons that brushed past nebulae and planets, their brightness dimming with distance. By the time it reached us, the flare had faded to a whisper, but the instruments caught it, a brief flash in the data, a flicker of ancient hunger. Humanity watched a meal that ended before civilization began. It's humbling to think of how the universe communicates. It doesn't shout or rage. It whispers, in light, in gravity, in time. Every atom of starlight that reaches your eye has traveled through eons. Every particle of cosmic dust has been part of a billion journeys across voids so immense that our entire solar system would fit inside a single pocket of them. And yet, somehow, those particles carry meaning. If you could translate the echoes of Sagittarius A times into sound, they would resemble deep, resonant tones, a vibration too low for human hearing. Physicists have done just that, converting the data of gravitational waves into audible frequencies. The result is astonishing. The song of a black hole is a slow, rising hum, a kind of cosmic chant that seems almost alive. Some compare it to a cello, others to wind moving through ancient stone corridors. But whatever the metaphor, the feeling is the same awe, because we are not just observing the galaxy, we are listening to it breathe. Even the silence between flares carries weight. The absence of light is also information. The stillness between pulses tells scientists when the black hole is resting, when it's watching. Each quiet interval is like the pause between heartbeats, and from those pauses, the galaxy builds rhythm. In the dense molecular clouds near the core, the echoes of Sagittarius A times ignite small storms. Gravity pulls matter together, and new stars are born. In this way, the death of one star feeds the birth of another. The flares that begin as destruction become creation, the cosmic circle closing itself once more. And through it all, the Milky Way turns slowly. Its spiral arms drift like the arms of a dancer, trailing clouds of gas and dust illuminated by billions of suns. But at its center, beneath the swirl of light, lies that same quiet pulse, the soundless heartbeat of Sagittarius A, time's sending ripples across the galactic sea. If you could lie beneath a field of stars tonight, close your eyes and listen deeply enough, you might feel it the faintest trembling in your imagination. The same rhythm that moves planets, the same tide that shapes galaxies moving softly through you. For the universe is not just out there. You are part of it, an atom among atoms, a wave within the great sea. The echoes that pass through the Milky Way also pass through you, through every cell, through every thought. So breathe slowly. Inhale with the galaxy. Exhale with the stars. You are listening to the oldest sound in existence, the quiet murmur of creation, still unfolding. Around Sagittarius A, times the void does not simply pull, it twists. Invisible lines of magnetism spiral around the black hole like ghostly threads of silk, shaping everything that moves near it. Gas, plasma, even light itself bends to their command. In this region, gravity and magnetism perform an ancient dance, equal parts chaos and choreography, and through their motion, the galaxy breathes. Every atom that drifts close to the event horizon carries an electric charge, and those charges generate magnetic fields that tangle and coil together. Imagine countless filaments, invisible but alive, snapping and reconnecting, stretching until they shatter and release bursts of energy. It is in those moments of magnetic fury that the black hole's brightest flares are born. From Earth, these outbursts appear as sudden flashes of infrared or X-rays lasting mere minutes. To us, they're brief. But near Sagittarius O, times where time dilates, they might last for centuries. The black hole does not hurry. It moves in rhythms we can only sense as echoes. If you could see magnetic fields with your eyes, you would witness a storm unlike any other, rivers of glowing plasma twisting into knots, then unraveling in arcs that stretch light years across. The entire accretion disk would shimmer like a living aurora, a cosmic northern light, powered not by sunlight but by gravity itself. Scientists call this process magnetic reconnection, and it is one of the most mysterious forces in astrophysics. It happens wherever magnetic field lines cross and break, releasing colossal amounts of energy. On Earth, it powers solar flares that can knock out satellites. Around black holes, it fuels the cosmic jets that pierce the darkness. These jets are among the strangest structures in the universe. Narrow beams of charged particles, accelerated to nearly the speed of light, they burst outward from the poles of the accretion disk and shoot across thousands of light years. Though Sagittarius A **'s jets are faint compared to those of distant quasars, they still whisper through the galaxy's silent arrows of light, tracing the architecture of invisible power. To understand how they form, imagine water spinning down a drain. As it swirls, it flattens into a disk, and any irregularity, any magnetic tension, is drawn toward the center. In a black hole, this tension becomes extreme. The magnetic lines twist into a funnel shape, and energy, unable to escape downward, bursts upward instead. What results is a jet so focused that it maintains coherence for eons, carving tunnels through the interstellar medium. If you were floating in space near one, it wouldn't look like fire. It would look like light woven into thread, piercing through clouds of dust like a spear. Its brightness would fade with distance, but its structure would remain pure and symmetrical, a reminder that even in chaos the universe seeks order. Astronomers studying Sagittarius A times have discovered that these magnetic fields might also be the reason for its quiet temperament. When the field lines are tangled and unstable, energy escapes through flares. But when they align neatly, the black hole's environment stabilizes, dimming its activity. In essence, the black hole's hunger is moderated by its own magnetic heartbeat. The Event Horizon Telescope's first polarized image of Sagittarius A, times released in 2022, revealed this hidden dance. The light around the black hole wasn't random. It followed curved paths, tracing magnetic lines like brushstrokes in a galactic painting. For the first time, humanity saw the pattern of order inside the chaos. Those swirling patterns of polarization were proof that even at the edge of oblivion, structure survives. It's humbling to think that magnetism, a force so familiar it holds your fridge notes in place, is the same one shaping galaxies. The same laws govern both. The universe doesn't scale its elegance. It repeats it from atom to star. And yet there is poetry in how these invisible fields shape destiny. They guide matter, decide where it will fall, when it will flare, and when it will vanish. They give form to the formless. They are in a way the unseen hands of creation, silent conductors of a symphony without sound. For billions of years, Sagittarius A**'s magnetic fields have twisted and untwisted, folding the galaxy's light into new patterns. When a flare bursts, it races outward, scattering photons into the void, carrying information about the dance that birthed it. By the time it reaches us, the dance is long over, but its echo lingers, a record written in radiation. Perhaps that is what all beauty is: energy taking shape, then disappearing before we can understand it. The light we see tonight is the memory of motion, the memory of something vast and alive, written across the stars. And as you breathe slowly, imagine those magnetic threads winding through the galaxy, weaving, snapping, reconnecting their rhythm, older than thought, their pattern beyond comprehension. In that rhythm you exist. You are part of it. The same currents that move through space move through you, through your nerves, your heartbeat, your mind. The dance never ends. It only changes form. And through every motion, the universe continues its quiet conversation with itself, a dialogue written in light, gravity, and magnetic fire. As the swirling fires of the accretion disk tighten around Sagittarius A, times something stranger than gravity begins to unfold. The closer matter drifts toward the black hole's edge, the more the flow of time itself begins to twist. Seconds stretch, minutes dissolve, and the rhythm of the universe falters, not from illusion, but from the geometry of space-time itself. Einstein predicted this more than a century ago, that gravity is not a force pulling on objects, but the curvature of time and space caused by mass. Around a supermassive black hole, that curvature becomes extreme. Clocks far from the center tick normally, but as they fall inward, their beats slow, their pulses drag. At the event horizon, time stops entirely. To fall towards Sagittarius A times is to fall out of time. Imagine hovering somewhere above that edge, far enough to see the light still escape, yet close enough to feel the distortion. The stars above you would appear to race their colors, stretching into deep reds as their photons lose energy, climbing out of the gravitational well. The universe itself would seem to accelerate while you remain still. A single minute for you might equal centuries outside. You could watch the galaxy spin faster and faster, stars aging in moments. entire civilizations blooming and fading like sparks. To you it would be silence and stillness. To the universe it would be motion beyond measure. Physicists call this phenomenon gravitational time dilation, and it has been measured faintly even here on Earth. Satellites orbiting high above us experience time slightly faster than we do at sea level. Their clocks must be corrected each day to keep our GPS systems accurate. Around a black hole, the effect is magnified beyond comprehension. A difference of meters can mean the difference between moments and millennia. To an observer, watching from a safe distance, anything falling toward the event horizon never truly arrives. As it nears the edge, its light is stretched thinner and thinner until it fades from view. The object seems frozen, forever suspended at the boundary of the abyss. Yet from the falling object's own perspective, the crossing happens quickly, in an instant, without warning, without return. Two realities exist at once, both true, both incomplete. Time is not universal here, it is personal. Each observer carries their own clock, their own measure of eternity. The closer you approach the horizon, the more the difference grows. If you tried to send a message outward, a flash of light, a single radio pulse, it would take longer and longer to reach its destination, until the signal stretched infinitely thin and vanished altogether. From the outside, you would seem to fade, your voice red-shifted into silence. The universe would never see you fall. It would only remember your last cry of light, frozen in time. And yet inside the horizon, the journey continues. The arrow of time does not stop, it changes direction. Space and time trade roles. Forward motion becomes downward motion. Every possible future converges into one inevitable path. To fall into Sagittarius A, times is to be guided toward the singularity, as surely as a river flows toward the sea. What happens there, no one can truly say. Some theories suggest the singularity is a point of infinite density. Others imagine it as a bridge, a wormhole leading to another region of the cosmos, perhaps even another universe. But whatever lies beyond it exists outside the grammar of our physics. Inside the black hole, cause and effect lose meaning. Time no longer moves, it becomes. For those who observe from afar, the black hole's manipulation of time is not only a spectacle, it is a tool. By measuring the orbits of stars like S2, as they whip close to Sagittarius A, times astronomers have confirmed Einstein's predictions with exquisite precision. When the star reaches its nearest point, its light shifts red exactly as relativity foretold. Even in the chaos of the galactic core, the laws of physics hold beautiful, consistent, and terrifyingly precise. And yet there is something almost spiritual about it. The idea that time, the very thing that defines our lives, can stretch, twist, or even stop. To think that somewhere out there a second can contain an eternity. That the moment you're living right now, the breath you're taking, could be happening alongside the birth and death of stars, depending on where you stand. If you could watch the entire universe from just above the event horizon, you would see everything at once, past, present, future, collapsing into a single burning instant. Perhaps that is what eternity truly means. Not endless duration, but the absence of before and after. Here near the abyss, the universe reveals its quietest secret. Time is not a river. It is a landscape, curved, folded, and alive. And within its valleys, hidden beneath the weight of gravity, something ancient stirs. So breathe. Let each inhale slow. Let each exhale stretch longer than the last. You are in your own way moving closer to that stillness, not falling, not ending, but drifting toward the part of existence where time softens into silence. And if you listen closely between the ticking of your own heartbeat, you might feel it, the pause between seconds, where the universe holds its breath. The same pause that lives forever at the edge of Sagittarius, at times where time slows, light bends, and eternity begins. There is a music to the universe, though we cannot hear it in any ordinary sense. It plays in wavelengths too long for ears, in pulses too faint for hearts, in frequencies that ripple through the very geometry of space-time. Near Sagittarius A times, this cosmic music becomes a deep, resonant hum, a song of gravity, energy, and light woven together. Every movement of matter, every flare and whisper from the accretion disk sends vibrations through the galactic sea. These vibrations are not sound waves, but gravitational waves, faint ripples that stretch and compress the fabric of existence as they travel. They move without friction, crossing the Milky Way unhindered, carrying the memory of the black hole's heartbeat. When astronomers on Earth finally learned to listen, using instruments so sensitive they could detect distortions smaller than an atom, they discovered that the universe was singing all along. Every collision, every spiral of dying stars, every merging of black holes left a note behind. Some high and sharp like cosmic bells, others deep and endless, like the drone of an infinite organ. Together they form a chorus that has been playing since the dawn of time. Sagittarius A times hums quietly within that symphony. Its song is slow, its rhythm vast. Each flare, each pulse of radiation contributes a new phrase to the music of the Milky Way. We cannot hear it directly, but we can feel its presence in data, in radio frequencies, in faint X-ray variations, in the subtle shimmer of starlight bent by gravity. To imagine this sound is to imagine time itself breathing. If the cosmos had a voice, it would not shout. It would resonate. Its tones would roll through the dark like waves over an endless ocean, colliding, merging, fading. It would echo within every atom, every cell, every quiet corner of your mind. Because the same physics that shapes Sagittarius A times also shapes you. The same patterns that guide the movement of galaxies govern the beating of your heart. There is something almost human in that connection, a reminder that consciousness and cosmos are not separate songs, but two harmonies of the same melody. Scientists have converted real data from black holes into audible sound, translating the frequencies of gravitational waves into music. The results are haunting, deep, trembling tones that seem to emerge from the bones of the universe itself. When you listen to them, it feels like standing on the edge of infinity and hearing the void exhale. Sagittarius A times, though distant and faint, contributes to this music through its radiation echoes. These are flickers of light that bounce between clouds of dust and gas, reflecting and scattering, creating a pattern of repetition that astronomers can measure. When mapped over time, those flickers form rhythm, the same way lightning becomes thunder or the wind becomes song through the branches of a tree. In that rhythm, there is language. The galaxy speaks through its vibrations, and those who study it are translators of silence. They chart the waves, decode their signatures, and reveal the unseen choreography of matter. To them, the black hole's environment is not chaos, it's composition. Each orbit, each collision, each jet of plasma adds another note to the infinite score. Even the emptiness around Sagittarius A times contributes to the melody. The space near the event horizon hums faintly with quantum fluctuations, tiny tremors of energy that arise and vanish constantly. Physicists call this the quantum foam, a restless sea of creation and annihilation that exists everywhere, but sings loudest where gravity bends deepest. These microscopic vibrations might be the softest part of the universe's song, a whisper layered beneath the bass of the black hole's roar. And yet all this sound happens in silence. Space has no air, no medium for sound waves to travel through. But silence does not mean absence. In the vacuum, motion itself becomes music. The black hole composes not with noise, but with energy, not with melody, but with rhythm. Its instrument is space-time, its tempo eternal. If you could close your eyes and listen not with ears, but with imagination, you might sense it, the deep rolling tone beneath all existence. The sound of galaxies turning stars, forming, and time flowing like a river through an unseen canyon. That's the song Sagittarius A conducts the invisible symphony of creation and destruction of endings that are beginnings of energy forever transforming but never dying. One day, perhaps far in the future, our descendants will no longer look at the sky but listen to it not as silence but as symphony. They will map galaxies not by sight but by sound, tracing each black hole's unique voice through the chorus of the cosmos. Until then, we can only imagine. We can only let our thoughts drift through that endless quiet, knowing it's not really quiet at all. Tonight, as you rest, you are part of that harmony. The atoms in your body vibrate in sync with the same laws that make Sagittarius A sing. Your breath rises and falls in rhythm with the expansion of the universe. And somewhere across 26,000 light years of darkness, the black hole's faint hum continues deep and endless, the universe playing itself one note at a time. For centuries, the black hole at the center of our galaxy was nothing more than a theory, a mystery whispered by equations and inferred from the way stars moved around an unseen mass. It was invisible, unknowable, a ghost hidden behind curtains of dust and light years of silence. And then, one quiet April morning in 2019, humanity saw its face. The Event Horizon Telescope, a network of observatories scattered across the Earth, had been staring into the heart of darkness for years. It wasn't one telescope, but many synchronized so precisely that together they acted as a single instrument the size of our planet. Their goal was audacious: to photograph the unphotographable, to capture the shadow of a black hole, not its body, but the absence it leaves behind. When the first image was released, it felt like the universe had exhaled. A glowing ring of golden light encircled a dark center, the silhouette of the void. It was not a perfect circle. It shimmered and bent, shaped by gravity itself. The brightness wasn't uniform. One side glowed stronger, caused by the Doppler effect, as matter raced toward us at nearly the speed of light. That asymmetry wasn't an imperfection. It was proof that the theories were real, that relativity's poetry had been written in the sky all along. The world looked at that image and saw, perhaps for the first time, what infinity looks like when it's outlined by light. That shadow was not Sagittarius A. It was its cousin, the black hole in the galaxy M87, 55 million light-years away. But the image opened the door for what came next, the gaze toward our own galactic center. In 2022, after years of work, the first image of Sagittarius A was unveiled. And there it was, the same fiery halo, smaller, flickering, less stable, but unmistakably real. The heart of our galaxy revealed after 13 billion years of secrecy. It wasn't a photograph in the traditional sense. It was the culmination of data from multiple telescopes, pieced together through algorithms synchronized by the rotation of Earth itself. It was a mosaic of light and gravity, assembled from signals that had traveled across continents and oceans. But what it showed was pure truth, a black hole's shadow glowing from the light of everything it had consumed. Imagine what it means to see something that by definition cannot be seen, to photograph absence, to hold a mirror up to the concept of nothingness and find that it has a shape. In that dark circle lies everything. We do not yet understand death, time, entropy, the boundaries of existence, and surrounding it, the thin, luminous ring of plasma, everything that resists that end burning with its final defiance. The light in that image is ancient. Each photon has orbited the black hole countless times bent and redirected by the curve of space-time before finally escaping toward our telescopes. What we see then is not a single moment, but thousands layered together, light stretched across time, an echo of countless revolutions. We are looking not at now, but at a history that continues to unfold in silence. The scientists who built the image described their work not as a discovery, but as a kind of unveiling, peeling back the veil of the galaxy to glimpse its heart. They compared the process to listening to a faint melody played on many instruments, each slightly out of tune, and finding the harmony hidden beneath. The melody, of course, was gravity itself. And yet, when you look at the image, it feels deeply human. That glowing ring could be a candle flame in infinite darkness. It could be an eye, ancient and calm, watching its own creation. It could be the universe looking back at itself. In that moment, we understood something profound, that the boundaries of our perception are not the limits of reality. The universe does not hide itself out of cruelty. It hides because we haven't yet learned how to see. And every time we build new tools, we bring the invisible into view. Sagittarius A asterisks, shadow, flickers its brightness, changing from minute to minute. It's not static like the one in M87. It's restless, alive. The plasma around it swirls unpredictably, glowing and dimming as magnetic fields twist and reconnect. It reminds us that even the most colossal structures in the cosmos move with the delicate rhythm of breath. We might never see the singularity itself, but we can see its fingerprint, the circle it carves into the universe. That ring of fire, that boundary of light, is proof that the cosmos is both violent and graceful. It is a portrait of hunger painted in gold and black, and now that we've seen it, we can never unsee it. Humanity has looked into the abyss, and the abyss has left its image in our memory, not as terror, but as wonder. Tonight, when you close your eyes, imagine that ring floating in the dark, glowing faintly like a lantern lost in endless night. Imagine that it is not an image from a telescope, but a reflection, a reminder that even the deepest darkness shines when touched by light. The shadow of Sagittarius A times is not just a photograph. It is a revelation that the universe, even at its most unknowable, still allows us to dream of understanding it. Not everything that wanders towards Sagittarius A times is doomed to disappear. For all its hunger, the black hole is not an absolute devourer. It is selective, sculpting the matter around it with invisible hands. Some of what falls too close will vanish, forever drawn across the event horizon, and lost beyond knowledge. But some will escape reborn as light wind, or even the seeds of new stars. In the universe, nothing is wasted. Everything transforms. When a cloud of gas drifts toward the center, it stretches like molten glass. Friction and magnetic tension heat it until it shines, releasing torrents of radiation. Yet not all that energy falls inward. A fraction of it rebounds, pushing outward as streams of plasma and light. This is feedback, the cosmic balance that prevents a galaxy from consuming itself. Sagittarius A times feeds, but in feeding it gives. Jets of charged particles burst from the poles of the accretion disk, slicing through space at nearly the speed of light. These beams carry matter away from destruction, hurling it into interstellar darkness where it mingles with cold hydrogen and dust. Over millions of years, those remnants condense, again collapsing into nebulae, and from those nebulae stars are born. Somewhere out there, a sun may be shining right now because of something that barely escaped Sagittarius A times long ago. The universe recycles itself in a rhythm too vast for any single lifetime to perceive. A star collapses, becomes dust, becomes a star again. Its light travels outward, touching other worlds, inspiring life that can look back and name the process. In that endless circulation, death and creation lose their boundaries. If you could trace one atom from a star devoured by the black hole, you might find it someday drifting through the clouds of another system, part of a planet, a mountain, a living creature. You might even breathe it in. Every inhalation you take contains particles forged in ancient cataclysms, the ash of suns that lived, died, and fell into darkness before the Earth was born. Sagittarius A times is one of the furnaces that keeps that cosmic cycle turning. Sometimes what survives isn't matter but memory. When a star is torn apart, its remains form tidal streams that circle the black hole for centuries. These streams of gas act like celestial fingerprints, marking the orbit where the star once was. Astronomers can still detect their glow spectral lines etched into the night, long after the original star is gone. It's as though the universe keeps an obituary in light. And what of light itself? Even that is not entirely lost. Photons that skim close to the event horizon can be caught in orbit, circling endlessly before escaping. Some complete multiple revolutions, bending around the void and returning outward. To a distant observer, this creates the illusion of a glowing halo, the light of destruction becoming the beauty of survival. Sagittarius A times also releases wind's vast invisible currents of charged particles that stream outward from the accretion disk. These winds interact with the surrounding galactic gas, shaping bubbles of energy thousands of light years wide. We've seen them in X-ray and gamma-ray images, enormous twin lobes rising above and below the galactic plane, like smoke from an ancient fire. They are the fossil breaths of past feedings, the proof that even a sleeping black hole once roared. What survives is not only physical, it is also influence. The mass of Sagittarius A times determines how stars move within the inner galaxy. Their orbits, their fates, their collisions, all of it dances to the black hole's rhythm. Even planets that have never seen its light are bound to its gravity, part of a vast mechanical harmony. The galaxy's spiral arms turn because of that unseen weight at the center. Every sunset on Earth, every comet in motion, owes something to that gravitational core. And still, amid all this precision, there is randomness, a chaos that ensures no two outcomes are the same. Some gas clouds are devoured entirely, their energy converted to heat and light. Others are deflected, flung back into the void at tremendous speed. In the turbulence of those decisions lies the creativity of the cosmos. It may be comforting to know that even near the edge of oblivion, not everything dies. The black hole is a paradox destruction that sustains consumption, that creates balance. Without it, galaxies would collapse inward or burst outward uncontrolled. Sagittarius A times is both the anchor and the breath of the Milky Way, and perhaps at a deeper level, it mirrors something within us. Every human life consumes and gives. Every ending leaves traces that shape what comes next. In that sense, we too are miniature black holes, centers of gravity within our small universes, pulling in experiences, transforming them into light. What falls, falls forever. But what survives travels outward, carrying memory, meaning, and possibility. Somewhere in that cycle lies the promise that nothing, not even loss, is wasted. If you listen carefully to the silence between stars, you can almost hear it, the soft exhale of matter escaping fate, the hush of creation following destruction. It is the quiet reminder that the universe never stops breathing. Gravity is not merely a force, it is an artist, and the black hole is its masterpiece. Around Sagittarius, A times space and time do not behave like the flat, obedient fabric described in textbooks. They curve, twist, and fold into shapes no Euclidean geometry can describe. What appears to us as a void is, in truth, a three-dimensional sculpture carved by mass, an invisible landscape of valleys and peaks through which everything from photons to planets must travel. Einstein saw this not as speculation, but as necessity. His theory of general relativity told us that mass bends space-time, the way a heavy stone bends the surface of water. The black hole is that concept taken to its absolute limit. Its gravity is so intense that it doesn't just bend the water, it tears it open, creating a funnel that plunges beyond the visible universe. Near Sagittarius, A times every straight line becomes a curve, every orbit a spiral drawn toward the center. Picture the Milky Way as a vast, luminous whirlpool. At its heart lies the black hole, shaping the motion of billions of suns, not by touch, but by geometry. Each star's orbit is a solution to the equations of space-time curvature. The graceful arcs of light we see through telescopes are not random. They are the geometry of gravity made visible. For decades, astronomers have mapped this hidden landscape by tracking stars like S2, which swoops dangerously close to Sagittarius A times every 16 years. Its path isn't a perfect ellipse like the planets around our Sunday. Instead, it precesses the point of its closest approach, shifts slightly with each orbit. This tiny drift is the proof of Einstein's equations at work, the fingerprint of curved space around a supermassive black hole. In 2018, scientists measured that precession for the first time. The result matched predictions to exquisite precision. For the first time, humanity had watched space-time itself change shape under observation. Every movement of S2, every shift in its starlight, was the direct trace of the geometry we cannot see. But geometry here is not static, it flows. Gravity is dynamic, responding instantly to energy and motion. When Sagittarius A times flares, the surrounding space-time quivers ever so slightly. Waves of curvature ripple outward, altering the paths of nearby particles. the timing of distant pulsars, even the way light bends through intervening gas. The universe is not a still sculpture, but a breathing one, a cosmic lung, expanding and contracting in silence. To visualize this, imagine space-time as a sheet of fabric stretched tight. Place a marble on it, and the sheet dips slightly. Roll another marble nearby, and it will spiral inward, not because they attract in the conventional sense, but because the sheet guides their motion. Now imagine replacing the marble with 4 million suns compressed into one point. The sheet doesn't just dip, it collapses. The geometry folds inward infinitely, and the rules of distance, direction, and even causality dissolve. That collapse, though catastrophic in form, gives rise to order on a galactic scale. Without Sagittarius A, times the Milky Way would lose its symmetry. Its arms would drift apart, its structure unravel. The black hole's geometry holds the galaxy together, defining its rhythm and its grace. And yet this order hides paradoxes. Deep inside, near the singularity equations, predict infinite curvature, a place where the geometry breaks down entirely. Infinity, however, is not a physical location. It's a sign that our understanding has reached its limit. Many physicists believe the singularity is not truly infinite, but rather a region where quantum effects take over, rewriting the rules of gravity at its smallest scales. This merging of the vast and the tiny, relativity and quantum mechanics, remains one of the greatest quests in modern science. Somewhere in that union lies the next revelation, a theory that could describe both the black hole's crushing mass and the flicker of particles dancing on its horizon. Some have suggested that space-time might not be continuous at all, but woven from discrete threads, a quantum fabric, each thread vibrating like a string in a symphony. If so, then Sagittarius A times is both loom and weaver, knotting those threads into patterns that define our galaxy's very shape. Gravity in this vision becomes a form of geometry, in motion, elegant, self-sustaining, eternal. From a philosophical view, this geometry feels like poetry written without words. It tells us that structure arises not from things, but from relationships, the way one point in space-time curves toward another. Even the emptiest vacuum has formed tension meaning. The black hole simply amplifies this truth until it becomes visible. Even nothingness has shape. To stand beneath the Milky Way on a clear night is to look into the geometry of your own existence. Every star's position, every photon's path, every atom in your body follows those same invisible curves. You are made of geometry. You are the geometry. And somewhere, 26,000 light-years away, Sagittarius A, times, continues to sculpt unseen, but not unfelt, a silent artisan bending the universe into balance. In its darkness, form becomes light. In its gravity, motion becomes music. And in its geometry, we find a map of everything, from the smallest heartbeat to the largest spiral of galaxies, drawn not in ink, but in the curvature of time. In the mythology of the cosmos, black holes are often cast as destroyers' final destinations, where light and matter vanish into silence. But this is only half the story. Sagittarius A, times, like all its kind, is not just an engine of consumption. It is also a mirror of creation. What it devours, it transforms. What it hides, it returns in new form. Around its darkness, the universe learns how to begin again. Every time matter falls into Sagittarius A, times it releases energy, pure, radiant, astonishingly efficient energy. If you could somehow convert all the mass of a single paperclip into light, the energy released would power the world for centuries. A black hole does that with entire stars. The energy flung outward as radiation jets and cosmic winds shapes the galaxies themselves. It heats interstellar gas forges, heavy elements, and drives star formation in regions thousands of light years away. What seems like destruction is in truth regeneration. Astronomers call this feedback, but the word feels too modest for what it represents. Imagine an immense cyclical breath, the galaxy inhaling gas toward the center, the black hole feeding, and then exhaling energy back into space. This exchange keeps the Milky Way alive. Without it, the galactic core would choke in its own dust. Too much star formation would collapse the balance. With it, everything flows. Sagittarius A times is not a devourer, but a heart. Its rhythm slow, powerful, necessary. You can see this mirrored in nature at every scale. In forests, fallen trees nourish the soil that grows new life. In oceans, the death of one creature feeds countless others. Even within ourselves, decay and renewal happen, constantly transforming the matter we eat into thought, emotion, and memory. The black hole simply performs this same dance. On a cosmic stage, its steps traced in light instead of blood. And yet there's something even deeper here, something almost philosophical. Black holes remind us that endings and beginnings are not opposites, but reflections. Every point of collapse is also a point of creation. The Big Bang itself may have been born from a similar kind of singularity, a moment when all matter and energy were compressed into a point before expanding outward. In that sense, Sagittarius A times is a small echo of the original birth of everything. It's possible some physicists suggest that black holes are not endpoints at all, but bridges. Inside them, the geometry of space-time might fold into new regions, tunnels that connect one universe to another, or one epoch of creation to the next. If that is true, then Sagittarius A times could be not a grave, but a womb. Every act of destruction it performs may ripple across unseen dimensions, seeding new realities beyond our perception. When we observe its flares, we are watching a cycle as old as time matter collapsing, heating, and returning as radiation. That radiation becomes energy for stars, which in turn create new worlds, which give rise to life, which looks back and wonders where it all began. In that gaze, your gaze, the circle closes. The universe contemplating itself through your consciousness is the same universe being sculpted by Sagittarius A times in the dark. You are both the observer and the echo. It's easy to think of the black hole as alien, distant, incomprehensible. But on some level, it behaves just like everything else in nature. It breathes, it balances, it evolves. It follows the same law that governs every heartbeat, every wave, every orbit. Energy is never lost. It only changes form. In that way, Sagittarius A times is not just a physical phenomenon, it's a symbol, a reminder that even in darkness, the seeds of light persist. That creation often wears the mask of destruction, that what disappears may not be gone, but merely hidden, waiting to return in a form we do not yet recognize. If you could hover safely near the edge of its accretion disk, you would see this truth unfold before your eyes. Every flash of energy released by falling matter is the story of rebirth. Each photon that escapes carries a piece of what was lost, traveling outward for thousands of years until it touches another world, perhaps even this one. Perhaps the warmth you feel from the stars tonight began as a particle born in that furnace of annihilation and renewal. And in this thought lies something strangely comforting. The same process that sustains the galaxy also sustains you. Every atom in your body was forged in the death of stars, scattered, drawn together again, and now burns with the energy of memory. You are quite literally the product of what the universe has already let go. Sagittarius A times mirrors that truth with quiet precision. It takes, but it gives back. It darkens, but it illuminates. It collapses inward, yet sends ripples outward across creation. When you look up at the night sky and see the faint mist of the Milky Way, remember this: its shimmer is not a static thing. It is the reflection of motion, of constant exchange of matter, cycling endlessly between being and non-being. You are witnessing a universe that never truly ends. Perhaps then black holes are not monsters at all. Perhaps they are mirrors, vast cosmic reminders that every disappearance conceals a new beginning, and that even at the heart of darkness creation still hums softly, waiting to be seen. Far from the violence of the accretion disk in the dim outskirts of the galactic core, other objects drift in quiet orbits. Neutron stars, white dwarfs, ancient gas clouds, and countless suns circle Sagittarius A, times like pilgrims around a sacred flame. They are the silent watchers, witnesses to the heart of darkness. For millions of years, they have traced their paths in patient loops, shaped by the invisible hand of gravity. Each of these objects tells a different part of the same cosmic story. The neutron stars are ghosts of once mighty suns, collapsed into orbs barely a dozen miles wide, yet heavier than entire solar systems. They spin rapidly, emitting beams of radiation like cosmic lighthouses. Every rotation sends a pulse through the galaxy, a heartbeat that astronomers can measure. By watching how those pulses bend as they pass near Sagittarius A times, scientists can test the geometry of space-time itself. Each flicker is a data point, each pulse a line of poetry written in gravity's language. Closer still, white dwarfs, the remains of less massive stars, drift like cooling embers. They no longer burn with fusion, but they glow faintly from residual heat. Some travel in pairs, locked in slow gravitational dances, occasionally spiraling inward to merge in bursts of light. A few might one day wander too close to the black hole, torn apart, and devoured their final light, feeding the eternal flame at the galaxy's core. Around them float enormous molecular clouds, vast reservoirs of gas and dust, the raw material for new stars. These clouds move like slow tides, influenced subtly by the gravity of Sagittarius A *. When radiation from the black hole or nearby supernovae passes through them, they glow in infrared and radio waves, forming intricate filaments of light that resemble veins in the body of the galaxy. Through them, energy and matter circulate a living system sustained by both creation and decay. In the quiet between these giants, smaller things persist. Asteroids, comets, even rogue planets, torn from their parent stars. They wander the galactic center in near silence, guided only by gravity. Their journeys are measured in millennia, yet every one of them is connected to the same invisible geometry, the pull of Sagittarius A*. Among the most fascinating of these watchers is a young star cluster known as the S cluster, orbiting perilously close to the black hole. Here, dozens of massive luminous stars revolve at incredible speeds, completing orbits in just a few decades. Their resilience puzzles astronomers. How did such fragile objects form in such a chaotic region? Some theories suggest they were born farther out and later captured. Others propose that the black hole itself helped trigger their creation, compressing gas through gravitational tides until it ignited into new suns. Whatever the truth, these stars endure. Their light flickers in the infrared like candle flames, trembling near a storm, fragile but unextinguished. They remind us that even at the edge of annihilation, life and light find ways to exist. And beyond them, still farther, lie the ancient red giants, swollen and slow, nearing the ends of their lives. Their winds blow heavy with carbon and oxygen, the building blocks of future worlds. They too are bound to Sagittarius A, times orbiting the abyss as they shed their outer layers into space. In time, their remnants will cool, collapse, and join the interstellar medium fuel for the next generation of stars. To look upon this region through a telescope is to see a paradox serenity wrapped around fury. Within the same frame, one can observe calm, drifting stars and the frenzied dance of matter being torn apart. It is a cosmic yin and yang stillness, and motion creation and destruction coexisting in delicate balance. These silent watchers do not judge, they simply endure. For billions of years they have orbited the black hole, unaware of their role in our understanding of the universe. Yet without them, we would know nothing of the heart of the Milky Way. Their orbits are our instruments, their light, our guideposts through the darkness. When astronomers point their instruments toward the galactic center, they measure more than radiation, they measure time itself. The motion of these watchers reveals how the galaxy evolves, how stars live and die, how the invisible governs the visible. Their slow choreography unfolding over ages reminds us that patience is the universe's most sacred art. Perhaps it's no coincidence that the galactic center is also a place of symmetry and grace. The orbits of the stars there form intricate patterns, not random chaos. Their paths weave together like threads in a tapestry, forming spirals, ellipses, and arcs of light that echo the structure of the galaxy itself. Even in apparent disorder, harmony persists. If you could stand in the middle of that vast theater, surrounded by those watchers, you would see motion everywhere. Stars streaking by like fireflies, gas clouds glowing in infrared hues, and always the black hole's dark core steady and calm, unmoving. You would feel the pull of time slowing, stretching, bending, and you might realize something profound, that all of it, every star, every orbit, every whisper of light exists because something in the center remains still. That stillness is not absence, it is balance. The silent watchers are its witnesses, their motion a hymn to the equilibrium of the cosmos. And as they drift on century after century, they remind us of our own place in the grand rotation. We too are watchers orbiting mysteries we cannot yet comprehend, bound by gravity, guided by light, and forever drawn toward the center of our own understanding. There will come a night, billions of years from now, when the sky itself will begin to move. The stars of Andromeda, our nearest spiral neighbor, will no longer appear as a faint smudge in the telescope. They will stretch across the heavens bright and immense, a second Milky Way blooming beside our own. Slowly, silently, irresistibly, the two galaxies will draw together. The dance that began when the universe was young will reach its climax, and at the heart of each two supermassive black holes, Sagittarius A times and Andromeda's dark twin will begin to feel each other's pull. The collision will not be an explosion but a merging. Galaxies are mostly empty space, Even as their arms intertwine, most stars will pass by one another unharmed. Yet gravity will reshape everything. Orbits will distort. Nebulae will stretch into ribbons. New stars will ignite from collapsing clouds of dust. The calm night sky will become a theater of motion, a river of light flowing in every direction. Somewhere near the center of the chaos, Sagittarius A times will wake again. For eons, it will have rested quietly, its hunger subdued. But now, streams of interstellar gas will pour toward it, torn loose by the tidal forces of the merging galaxies. The accretion disk will flare, the jets will blaze, and the Milky Way's heart will roar with the energy of rebirth. It will become a quasar, a beacon visible from across the universe. Astronomers predict this event will occur roughly 4 billion years from now. By then, the sun will have grown hotter. Earth's oceans may have evaporated, and humanity, if it still exists, will be something very different from what it is today. Perhaps our descendants will watch the collision from new worlds, orbiting new stars, marveling at the beauty of two galaxies embracing across eternity. From a cosmic perspective, the merging of the Milky Way and Andromeda is inevitable. The two have been on a collision course since their birth, their mutual gravity binding them in a slow spiral that has taken billions of years to unfold. Already Andromeda's light carries subtle distortions, a blue shift evidence that it is moving toward us at nearly 110 kilometers per second. The space between them shrinks every day, though the distance remains so immense that the human mind cannot truly fathom it. When they finally touch, the night sky will blaze. The familiar constellations, Orion, Cassiopeia, Sagittarius, will dissolve. New patterns will form vast arcs of light across the heavens. The sun, caught in the gravitational turbulence, may be flung outward into the merged galaxy's halo or drawn closer toward its new core. Whatever its fate, the view from any surviving world will be breathtaking twin spirals, intertwined, glowing like galaxies, seen through a tear in the veil of time. And then, in the deepest center of that union, the two black holes will find each other. At first they will circle warily, each distorting space around the other. Their orbits will tighten over millions of years as they shed energy through gravitational waves, invisible ripples that will spread across the cosmos. To distant observers, those waves will sound like the deepest possible tones in the symphony of existence, the bass notes of creation itself. When at last Sagittarius A times and its counterpart collide, the impact will release more energy than all the stars in both galaxies combined. The merged black hole will recoil slightly, then settle its mass, greater its pull, stronger its influence, reaching farther than before. The new galaxy, already named by astronomers the Milky Way galaxy, will spin peacefully around its renewed heart, glowing with fresh light from the stars born in the chaos. It is strange to think that such immense violence could produce beauty. Yet that is the rhythm of the universe, collisions that create harmony, destruction that leads to order. The merger of galaxies is not death, it is metamorphosis. Just as two cells combine to form a new organism, two galaxies collide to form a new whole, richer, brighter, more complex than either alone. Somewhere in that far future, another civilization, perhaps born on one of the new worlds formed in the wake of the merger, may look into the night sky and see the faint glow of our present Milky Way preserved in memory, as if painted on the canvas of time. They will speak of ancient galaxies that once wandered separately through space, and of the moment when they finally met and became one. And in the center of that new creation, the black hole that was once Sagittarius A times will spin quietly heavier now, but no less graceful. It will have swallowed another heart, and in doing so will radiate a final burst of power that will echo for ages. Then it will rest once more calm in the silence it has created, the eternal witness of the universe's unfolding. The galaxies will merge, the stars will shift, but the laws that shape them will remain. Gravity will still write its quiet geometry across the heavens. Time will still flow in ripples and curves, and somewhere, someone, perhaps not human, perhaps not even biological, will still gaze upward and wonder what it means to fall and to merge, to end, and to begin again. In that distant tomorrow, the Milky Way's story will not have ended. It will have changed its name, its shape, and its song, but at its center, the same heartbeat will continue. Sagittarius A, times transformed, yet eternal, still whispering the same truth it has whispered since the beginning, that nothing ever truly ends. It only changes form. Long before the galaxies meet, long before Sagittarius A times awakens again in hunger, there will still be eyes fixed on the center of the Milky Way, patient, curious, and unblinking. Humanity, or whatever form our successors take, will continue to stare into the dark, searching for meaning in the silence. For centuries we have looked upward, and every generation has seen a little farther, learned a little more, and realized how small we are in comparison to the vastness that holds us. Our ancestors once mapped the stars with naked eyes, tracing myth and memory into the constellations. They saw the Milky Way as a river of souls, a bridge of fire, a celestial spine that held heaven and earth together. Today we know that river is made of 100 billion suns, each a furnace, each a story. Yet the wonder has not faded. If anything, it has deepened. The more we see, the more infinite the universe becomes. And at the center of that infinity lies Sagittarius A, times the quiet engine of the galaxy. For centuries it was only a rumor, a mathematical ghost inferred from how stars moved. Then, with radio telescopes and infrared eyes, we began to glimpse its presence, faint flickering, unmistakable. Every decade since has brought us closer to seeing what cannot be seen. The Event Horizon Telescope, that vast collaboration of observatories scattered across Earth, is just the beginning. Already, new generations of instruments are rising, orbiting radio dishes that will link from space to ground laser, interferometers that can detect the whisper of gravitational waves from merging black holes, and X-ray telescopes that can trace the temperature of plasma near the edge of eternity. These are the eyes of the future, opening wider each year. Someday, we may see not just the light around Sagittarius A times, but its motion in real time, a movie of the universe's heart beating. We may watch flares rise and fade, matter swirl and vanish, gravity sculpt the dance of energy into the shapes of light. The first image we captured was a single frame. The next will be a story. But even as our tools evolve, there's another kind of vision, awakening not in machines but in minds. The more we study the universe, the more it begins to resemble consciousness itself. Both are vast, mysterious, and filled with phenomena that defy our language. Black holes, with their ability to distort time, erase boundaries, and yet preserve information, are like the neurons of creation, gathering, processing, and transforming the universe's data into new realities. Perhaps in some unfathomable way, the cosmos is aware of its own unfolding. Perhaps Sagittarius A times is not merely a gravitational sink, but a mirror reflecting the awareness that watches it. When we point our telescopes toward it, we are in a sense the universe observing its own heart. There is poetry in that thought. The same atoms that make up our eyes were forged in stars, now long dead. The same photons that touch our retinas began their journey in nuclear fires billions of years ago. We are not just spectators, we are participants in the grand experiment. When we look at the black hole, we are looking at the process that made us possible. And yet, for all our technology and understanding, there is humility in what we cannot know. Even the most advanced equations break down at the singularity. Even our most powerful instruments are limited by light and distance. The universe will always hold mysteries beyond reach, not to frustrate us, but to remind us that discovery is an infinite act. Still, we keep building. We send instruments to orbit the moon, the sun, the outer planets. We launch telescopes like James Webb and its successors, unfolding golden mirrors into the dark, listening for the first light of the cosmos. Soon, new gravitational wave observatories, the Laser Interferometer Space Antenna, the Einstein Telescope, and others will join the chorus, tuned to the deepest frequencies of the universe. They will hear what light cannot show, the tremors of space-time itself. Through them, Sagittarius A times will not just be seen, it will be heard. Its ripples will hum through our detectors, giving us a new way to perceive the infinite. For the first time, we will listen to the music of our own galaxy's heart. And what then? Perhaps we will find patterns. Perhaps we will realize that the universe is not random at all, but ordered in ways beyond imagination. Perhaps the orbits of galaxies, the pulses of quasars, even the patterns of human thought, all resonate to the same underlying rhythm, the frequency of existence itself. In that moment, science will meet something older than science awe. The same feeling our ancestors felt under the first night sky when they looked up and saw eternity reflected in their own eyes. Maybe the final lesson of Sagittarius A times will not be about physics or energy or space-time. Maybe it will be about perspective, that even the smallest consciousness can contain infinity, just as a single photon can circle a black hole forever. When we look at the galactic center, we are not peering into death. We are peering into the mechanism of continuity, the quiet assurance that existence never ceases. It only changes form, shape, or speed. So tonight, imagine those eyes, human, alien, artificial, or something yet unborn, all turned toward that same dark heart, watching, learning, waiting. The universe will not speak in words, but in light and gravity and time. And those who listen carefully enough will hear it whisper the oldest truth of all, that to see the infinite, you must first look inward. If the heart of our galaxy could speak, what would it say? Would its voice be the low, steady hum of gravity vibrating through the bones of space? Or would it be silence, that patient, endless pause between creation and collapse where all stories begin and end? The truth is, Sagittarius A times does speak. It just doesn't use words. Its language is energy bursts of X-rays, whispers of radio waves, the faint shimmer of infrared light that flickers through clouds of dust. Every flare, every pulse is a syllable in a dialect older than time. The universe listens in its own way, through the motion of stars, through the bending of light, through the echo of gravitational waves. If we could translate those messages, what might we hear? Perhaps nothing new, perhaps something astonishingly familiar. Because the black hole is not separate from us, it is made of the same matter, obeys the same laws, lives by the same rhythm. Its voice is not foreign, it's just deeper, slower, wider than we can perceive. Imagine that one night, as telescopes across the world listen to the galactic center, the data begins to align into a pattern, a cadence, a pulse, repeating not randomly, but musically, like a slow heartbeat. The pattern grows clearer. Every flare from Sagittarius A times arrives in intervals that match the cycles of our own planet rotation, orbit precession. It's as if the galaxy's core has been marking time with us all along, keeping rhythm with the dance of Earth. Would that be communication or coincidence? Would we call it intelligence or inevitability? In a sense, the black hole has been speaking to us since before we existed. It has shaped the Milky Way's structure, determined the paths of stars, set the conditions for the sun to form and for life to emerge. It has guided our story without intent or awareness, or perhaps with a kind of awareness that doesn't need thought. A form of knowing woven into the fabric of physics. If Sagittarius A times could form words, maybe they would sound like this: I am not the end, I am the center. The pause in the song that lets the next note be heard. The stillness that gives meaning to motion. I do not consume, I transform. It might tell us that darkness isn't absence, but potential, the raw field from which light is born. That silence isn't void, but fullness waiting to be heard. That gravity is not destruction, but connection. The invisible bond that holds everything, even the smallest thought within the universe's embrace. And maybe it would ask us questions in return. Do you understand what it means to create and destroy at the same time? To be the boundary and the bridge, to hunger, not for matter, but for meaning? Would we answer, could we? We've been trying for centuries, through myth, science, poetry, prayer, all ways of talking back to the unknown. The universe listens quietly, patient, as always. Maybe it's been responding all along, not with sentences, but with moments of revelation, the discovery of relativity, the first image of the event horizon, the faint background radiation left from the Big Bang. Each breakthrough is a small conversation between our curiosity and the cosmos. Perhaps Sagittarius A times speaks in paradoxes the way the universe so often does. It devours light, yet its presence lets light exist. It bends time, yet it anchors the flow of ages. It hides everything, yet reveals the nature of everything around it. It erases, yet preserves not in space, but in the memory of geometry itself. Even silence can be language. Every pause between the pulses of a pulsar, every gap between one gravitational wave and the next carries information. The cosmos hums in binary presence and absence, yes and no, light and dark. From that duality, complexity arises the same way your thoughts arise from the firing and resting of neurons. Perhaps consciousness itself is just the universe learning to listen to its own rhythm. If the black hole could speak directly to you, it might say something simple, something human. You are not separate from me. You are the universe looking inward. You are the question I have been asking myself since the beginning. And maybe in that moment, you would feel what sages, poets and scientists have tried to describe in different words, that overwhelming sense of unity, the collapse of distance between the self and the infinite. you might feel the same silence that fills the space between atoms, between stars, between thoughts. It wouldn't be frightening. It would be peaceful, like realizing that every breath you take echoes the expansion of the universe, that every heartbeat is another small pulse in the Milky Way's great rhythm. You might finally understand that to exist is to participate in the cosmic dialogue, whether or not you can hear the words. And perhaps if you listen closely enough, you'll realize you've already been hearing it your whole life. In the wind between mountains, in the hum of electricity, in the ocean's breath, in the soft silence that follows each thought before the next begins. The black hole doesn't need to speak for the message to be clear. It is written everywhere in gravity, in light in you. The universe is whispering still, and all it ever says is continue. Since the beginning of thought, humans have stared into the unknown and called it by many names. To some, it was God. To others, chaos. To poets, the night. But for philosophers and dreamers alike, the darkness has always been a mirror, a place to confront the limits of knowledge. Long before we knew of black holes, we felt their metaphor, that there are regions of the soul and of the universe from which no light escapes. When we discovered Sagittarius A times, we gave a face to that ancient idea. Suddenly the void was not just myth, it was real, measurable, vast, beyond comprehension. The philosophers of our age no longer gathered in temples or stone academies. They gathered in observatories, in quiet labs, in rooms filled with screens glowing faintly in the dark. Their questions were the same as those of the ancients. What is being? What is time? What does it mean to vanish? Black holes answer in paradox. They are the ultimate symbols of ignorance, disguised as knowledge objects. We can describe perfectly with mathematics, but cannot truly imagine. We know what happens outside them, but not within. And in that uncertainty lies a truth older than science, that mystery is not a failure of understanding, but the very engine of it. Einstein wrestled with that mystery, unwilling to believe the universe would allow such extremes. Hawking accepted them, then transformed them, showing that even black holes radiate, that nothing is ever truly lost. In their equations, physics became philosophy. They were not simply describing gravity, they were describing existence, entropy, the balance between being and unbeing. Each calculation was a meditation, each experiment a prayer whispered into the void. It is strange how closely our search for knowledge mirrors our myths. When ancient thinkers imagined the underworld, they described it as a realm where time behaved differently, where memory faded, where no living thing could return unchanged. The same could be said of the event horizon. The physicist and the mystic, standing at the edge of their respective abysses, both stare into the same darkness and both emerge humbled. Maybe that's what philosophy has always been, learning to dwell comfortably with questions that have no answers. Sagittarius A times offers plenty. It asks whether time is real, whether the past can vanish, whether the universe has boundaries. It asks whether information, the pure essence of what is, can ever truly be destroyed. It asks whether consciousness, like matter, can be folded into gravity's embrace, and if so, whether it too can return. Some thinkers see black holes as cosmic metaphors for the mind itself. The brain too is a labyrinth of fields and connections, invisible currents shaping every perception. Thoughts appear and vanish. Memories collapse inward. A lifetime of experience seems to orbit a single, unreachable core, the self which we cannot see, only infer. Perhaps each of us carries a tiny singularity inside a center of gravity, where our consciousness folds the infinite into something human-sized. Others find meaning in the geometry of black holes. They note that when space-time curves, opposites lose their boundaries. Light becomes time, energy becomes mass, space becomes motion. In that union, they see a reflection of non-duality, an idea that philosophers and mystics have described for millennia. There is no separate inside and outside, no observer, and observed only a single continuous field of being. The equations of relativity say the same thing in numbers. What happens then when philosophy meets observation? When we look at the black hole's shadow, we are looking at the most literal form of absence, and yet that absence shines. It glows with the light of everything falling into it. The deeper we stare into nothing, the more visible it becomes. In this, Sagittarius A times teaches a profound lesson that knowledge is born not from what we grasp, but from what eludes us. Throughout history, thinkers have used darkness to describe both ignorance and awakening. Plato's cave, the shadow of the forms. The Taoist void, the fertile, nothing that gives rise to all things. The Sufi concept of fana, the annihilation of the self to experience unity. In the modern age, the event horizon is the new symbol of that same transcendence, the scientific embodiment of the ineffable. To stand before a black hole, even in imagination, is to face the limit of comprehension. You feel the mind reach its boundary, like a wave breaking on invisible glass. You can go no farther without surrendering, not in defeat, but in acceptance. Beyond this line, knowledge turns into wonder. Maybe this is why so many scientists describe their work in spiritual terms. They speak of awe, reverence, humility. They use words like beautiful and sacred to describe equations that describe destruction. For them, as for the mystics, truth is not a possession, but an experience, something glimpsed, never owned. In that sense, Sagittarius A times is the universe's greatest philosopher. It teaches through silence. It proves that certainty is overrated, that limits can be creative, that endings give meaning to beginnings. Its darkness doesn't hide truth. It defines the shape of truth. Without the contrast of shadow, light itself would have no name. So if you find yourself staring into the night sky and feeling small, remember this: the same darkness that humbles you is also within you. The atoms of your body were forged in the same processes that feed the black hole. The mystery you perceive is not separate from you. You are part of its question and perhaps part of its answer. Every philosopher who has ever wondered, why is there something rather than nothing, has in a way been listening to Sagittarius A times speak. It doesn't shout its answers. It whispers them in the language of gravity, patience, and transformation. And its answer, if it gives one at all, might be simple, because even nothing loves to become something. At the edge of everything we know lies a border we cannot cross, the event horizon. But physics, ever restless, refuses to stop there. What happens beyond that edge has haunted every scientist and dreamer who has dared to look too long into the dark. The question is older than discovery itself. Does what falls into a black hole truly vanish? Or does the universe in some hidden way remember everything it has ever lost? To understand this mystery, you must imagine the black hole not as a void, but as a kind of library, vast, silent, and encrypted. When matter and light fall in, they are not erased outright. Instead, Their information is smeared across the surface of the event horizon, woven into the fabric of space-time like code. This idea, born from the minds of Hawking-Bekenstein and later Maldacena, is called the holographic principle. It suggests that everything that happens inside the black hole is somehow projected onto its surface, the way a three-dimensional image can be stored on a two-dimensional film. If this is true, then the universe itself might be holographic, a grand illusion of depth created by information inscribed on its cosmic boundary. What we experience as solid, vast, and continuous might be a shadow cast from a higher dimension. To peer into Sagittarius A times is to look perhaps at the place where dimensions overlap, where the illusion of separateness falters. Hawking radiation complicates the picture further. In 1974, Stephen Hawking discovered that black holes aren't truly black. Quantum effects near the event horizon allow pairs of virtual particles to form, one falling inward, one escaping outward, as radiation. Over unimaginable spans of time, this process causes the black hole to lose mass and eventually evaporate. From the outside, it looks as if the black hole is whispering away its secrets, photon by photon. But does it? Here lies the information paradox, one of the greatest puzzles in science. Quantum mechanics insists that information cannot be destroyed. Relativity seems to suggest it can. Somewhere between these two pillars of physics, a bridge must exist hidden beneath our mathematics. Some physicists believe that the information is encoded in the Hawking radiation itself, subtly imprinted in correlations too complex for us to yet decode. Others propose that black holes act as quantum mirrors, that what falls in is not lost but transformed and released back into the universe in a new form, just as starlight becomes energy, energy becomes matter, and matter becomes thought. Whatever the truth, the implications are staggering. If information never truly dies, then nothing does not entirely. Every atom, every action, every thought leaves an imprint somewhere in space-time. The universe is not a story written and erased, but a story that rewrites itself endlessly, each page containing traces of all the others. Perhaps that's why so many physicists speak of black holes in poetic terms. The mathematics is daunting, but the emotion behind it is universal. We are not just studying what lies beyond the horizon, we are confronting our deepest fear, oblivion. The black hole forces us to ask whether anything of us remains after we cross our own horizons, whether memory, love, or awareness has a physics of its own. Imagine a civilization far older than ours, one that has mastered the structure of space-time. They might learn to use black holes as repositories of knowledge, storing data in the quantum patterns of their horizons. Each black hole could hold the history of 1,000 worlds, their civilizations preserved not in ruins, but in geometry. When the universe grows cold and dark, those black holes might remain as archives of everything that ever was. Perhaps Sagittarius A times already contains the memory of stars long vanished, of planets that lived and died before our sun was born. Some theorists suggest that the inside of a black hole might not end in a singularity at all, but in a white hole, a mirror image that expels what the black hole absorbs. In that case, the matter falling into Sagittarius A times could one day emerge elsewhere in another time, another universe. Every act of disappearance would be paired with an act of creation. The cosmos would not be a graveyard, but a cycle, an eternal breath inhaling and exhaling light. We cannot test these ideas yet. We can only imagine. But perhaps imagination is the first tool of discovery. Long before we could observe the event horizon, we dreamed it. Long before we measured the curvature of space-time, we felt its pull. Each new theory, each new experiment, is another way of standing at that invisible edge and asking, what if? When we finally learn the truth, if such a thing is possible, it may not come as revelation, but as recognition. We may find that the laws of the cosmos and the laws of consciousness are not separate, that the boundary between matter and meaning is thinner than we thought. The black hole in that light is both a cosmic object and a metaphor for the human condition, an invitation to cross our own horizons of understanding. To go beyond the horizon is to surrender certainty. It is to let go of what we think we know and trust that something remains unseen but real. Every question, every leap of faith is a small version of that crossing. Maybe that's why the night sky feels so familiar. We sense deep down that we too are made of horizons of boundaries and breakthroughs of endings that open into beginnings. Beyond the event horizon, beyond fear and mystery, there may not be nothingness at all. There may be everything rearranged. And perhaps, in some quiet, patient way, Sagittarius A times already knows. It has been holding that secret for billions of years, humming softly at the center of the galaxy, waiting for us to listen closely enough to understand. Even in the stillness there is motion. Even in silence, a rhythm persists. Sagittarius A, times though wrapped in darkness, is not dead. It lives in slow pulses of gravity, in the faint flicker of light, bent by time in the gentle tug it exerts on every star that circles the galactic core. The heart of the Milky Way still beats vast, steady, eternal. If you could drift there, past the bright arms of the galaxy and into its golden center, you would see not emptiness, but motion everywhere. Clouds of gas glowing like embers. Stars whipping through their orbits at thousands of kilometers per second. Threads of magnetism curling through invisible winds. And deep within it, all the black hole quiet, now resting after its last feast. Its presence isn't marked by light, but by the choreography of everything around it. Astronomers call Sagittarius A times quiescent, meaning dormant. Yet even in this dormancy it breathes. Occasionally, a flare of X-rays pierces the silence, brief, brilliant, gone in minutes. Each one is a heartbeat. Each one reminds us that the giant at the center has not vanished into oblivion, but endures patient and powerful. It has been there since the beginning of the galaxy. Perhaps it was born alongside the first clusters of stars, a remnant of the earliest generations of suns. For billions of years it has governed the Milky Way's structure, balancing creation and collapse. Without it, our spiral arms would not hold their shape. The stars, our sun among them, would drift away into the intergalactic void. It is both anchor and axis, the unseen center, around which all things revolve. And yet, this colossal being does not rage or roar. Its voice is gravity soft, constant, relentless. Every orbit, every rotation is a note in its quiet symphony. To the human ear, it is silence. To the universe, it is music. The melody of existence written in curvature and motion. Some scientists believe Sagittarius A times is nearing the middle age of its life. It will not grow much larger unless the Milky Way collides with another galaxy, an event still billions of years away. Until then, it will drift in calm, surrounded by the slow swirl of stars. It is strange to think of something so immense, so powerful, spending eons in serenity. But that serenity is what allows the galaxy to live. If you could watch the Milky Way from afar, from the cold distances between galaxies, it would look like a glowing spiral of white and gold, spinning gracefully against the black. You would see the dark lane at its center, the shadow of Sagittarius A asterisk. You might mistake it for absence. But if you could watch long enough, 1,000,000 years in a single glance, you would see the pulse. You would see how each flicker of the core ripples outward, shaping the rhythm of everything. The galaxy itself breathes in time with its black hole. It is a beautiful paradox, the heart of darkness as the source of light, the quiet center as the reason everything around it sings. It reminds us that stillness is not the opposite of motion, it is its foundation. That silence is not the absence of sound, but the space in which sound becomes possible. In that way, Sagittarius A times mirrors the universe itself. From the Big Bang to the cold future that awaits, the cosmos has always been a balance between expansion and collapse, between brightness and shadow. Without gravity, there would be no stars, no galaxies, no life. Without the pull inward, the outward rush would scatter everything into nothing. The black hole is the counterpoint to the explosion, the inhale after the exhale. And so, the Milky Way continues to turn. Stars are born, live, and die. Planets rise and fall. Civilizations, if they exist elsewhere, watch their suns rise and set, unaware that all their days are measured against the heartbeat of a darkness they will never see. The black hole does not notice them, but it holds them nonetheless. Its gravity binds their skies, their oceans, their lives. There is something profoundly peaceful about that. We often think of the universe as indifferent, even cruel. But perhaps it is simply neutral, an artist painting with forces beyond comprehension. Sagittarius A times is one of its masterpieces, an image of balance of motion born from stillness. It asks for nothing, yet gives structure to everything. Some philosophers have suggested that black holes might represent the ultimate state of understanding, the point where complexity returns to simplicity. Inside, matter, energy, and time collapse into unity. What appears as destruction might be the highest form of order, the reduction of all things to a single equation: gravity as truth. If you were to fall into Sagittarius A times, you would never know the moment you crossed the event horizon. Time would slow, then stop. From your perspective, eternity would pass in an instant. You would become part of the geometry itself, not gone, but transformed, woven into the memory of the universe. Your atoms, your information, your story would continue imprinted on the cosmic horizon. And maybe that's the final lesson of this vast, quiet being, that nothing is truly lost. Not light, not matter, not even meaning. Everything that enters the black hole becomes part of its song, part of the pattern that keeps the galaxy alive. If you could listen closely enough, beyond the hum of your own thoughts, beyond the boundaries of language, you might hear that song even now. It is the same rhythm that moves through your breath, through your heartbeat, through the quiet turning of the earth beneath you. The Milky Way's heart still beats. It beats in gravity and in time, in fire and in silence. It beats in you and in everything that ever was. Light never truly dies. It fades, it bends, it redshifts into invisibility, but somewhere, somehow it continues. Every photon that has ever escaped a star, every glimmer reflected off a planet, still travels through the void, carrying a fragment of its origin. Even now, light born before Earth existed is washing over you. It is the oldest messenger in the universe and the most faithful. Sagittarius A times has consumed countless suns, and yet their light endures not in the sky we see, but in the memory of the cosmos. Some of it survives as radiation spiraling from the accretion disk, some as the faint microwave echo of ancient collisions, and some as mathematical imprints encoded into the curvature of space-time itself. In a way, the black hole remembers every flicker that has ever touched its gravity. When astronomers study the faint glow near the galactic center, they are studying this memory. The X-ray and radio emissions from Sagittarius A times are fossil light energy released from matter long since devoured. To us, these photons are new, but their story is billions of years old. They are time travelers, witnesses to creation and destruction alike. Light is more than illumination. It is history written in motion. When it leaves a star, it carries a record of that star's temperature, its age, its chemistry. When it reflects off a planet, it encodes the color of oceans, the texture of clouds, the composition of air. Every beam of light is a document, a record of what was preserved across distances beyond imagination. Even the light that vanishes into a black hole is not entirely lost. As it falls, it stretches, slows, and merges with the geometry of the horizon. It becomes part of the black hole's surface, contributing to its entropy, the measure of all information contained within. In that sense, Sagittarius A times holds not only matter, but memory. It is a vast archive of forgotten radiance. Some scientists believe that if we could decode the vibrations of space-time itself, we might read those memories. Each gravitational ripple, each photon emitted from the edge of the event horizon could reveal the history of everything that has ever fallen inward. The equations that describe this are impossibly complex fields of mathematics that curve and loop like the galaxy itself. But the idea is simple. The universe forgets nothing. In the laboratory of thought, physicists and philosophers often compare light to consciousness. Both reveal, both move, both seem to persist, even when the source has changed. When you look at the night sky, the starlight that reaches your eyes is not just ancient, it is present. You are not seeing the past, you are touching it. The photons hitting your retina were born in events long vanished, yet their arrival is real, happening now. Time collapses in that connection. The universe through light lets you touch eternity. Perhaps that is why black holes fascinate us so deeply. They represent the one place where light fails, where memory stops traveling. But even then, the failure is incomplete. Some photons skim the edge and escape distorted but alive. Others become part of Hawking radiation, returning their energy to space. Even in darkness, light finds a way to persist. The Milky Way itself glows with this afterlight. Infrared waves hum through the dust clouds, remnants of stars long gone. Gamma rays trace the paths of cosmic rays, born in the violence of ancient supernovae. The faint background that fills the universe, the cosmic microwave background, is the afterglow of creation itself, the light from the first dawn 13.8 billion years ago. Every photon you have ever seen was part of that lineage, carrying the echo of beginnings. If you were to float at the galactic center and open your senses beyond the visible, you would be bathed in radiance. Waves of every length would ripple past X-rays from colliding particles, radio waves from orbiting stars, infrared light from newborn suns. The black hole sits at the crossing point of all that energy, silent yet aware, its gravity sculpting the paths of every photon that comes near. And somewhere in that invisible storm, the light of our sun also travels. Every day, Earth sends its own tiny contribution, reflections of oceans, glimmers of cities, flares from solar winds. Someday far in the future, those photons will reach the galactic center, circling the abyss perhaps for eternity. In that way, even we are already part of the story, our light mingling with the light of everything else. Maybe that is what immortality looks like, not as myth but as physics, not endless life but endless trace. The idea that nothing radiant ever disappears, that every warmth and brightness leaves a mark. The candle burns out, but the photons continue their flight. The star dies, but its glow seeds the next generation of worlds. You are made of light, too. The carbon in your body was forged in the death of ancient suns. The impulses firing in your brain are electrical storms dancing on the same physical principles that power galaxies. When you think, when you love, when you dream, the energy you release is also a kind of light invisible to the eye but written into the thermodynamics of the universe. And when your light fades, it will not be gone. It will spread outward, dispersed but enduring, folded into the great memory of existence. Somewhere, perhaps near the edge of Sagittarius, A times some faint particle of that radiance will join the endless dance, falling and rising again, caught in the geometry of time. That is the promise of light, and the reason the universe never stops shining. Every photon, every thought, every heartbeat is part of a single illumination, the cosmos remembering itself. So as you lie here tonight under a sky, still glowing with echoes of the first dawn, remember, you are not separate from that light. You are its continuation, its living form. The stars you see are not far away. They are inside you, reflected in your cells, your breath, your being. And somewhere, 2,6,0,0,0 light years away, the heart of the Milky Way still pulses softly, holding within its dark silence all the light that ever was, and all the light still to come. All things that shine must one day dim. The universe, like a living organism, has its own life cycle: birth, youth, maturity, and eventually a quiet end. The galaxies are its lungs, the stars, its beating hearts, the black holes, its memory. And though it feels eternal to us, the cosmos is aging. The light we see now, the brilliance of suns and nebulae and galaxies, is only a single act in a vast and patient play. One day the curtain will fall. Astronomers call that distant chapter the stelliferous era, the age of stars. It is the age we live in now, the most luminous epoch the universe will ever know. Stars are still being born. New suns still flicker to life in clouds of hydrogen and dust. But their birth rate is slowing. The gas that fuels creation is being consumed. Each generation of stars uses what remains, leaving less behind for the next. Like embers cooling in a fire, the cosmos is beginning its long transition from heat to stillness. In 100 trillion years, a number so vast, it's almost meaningless, the last star will burn out. The skies of every galaxy will fade to black, illuminated only by the ghosts of red dwarfs flickering in their final moments. Planets frozen and silent will drift through the dark like forgotten prayers. The Milky Way will have merged with its neighbors. By then, its stars redistributed across a giant elliptical galaxy, centered on a single massive black hole, the descendant of Sagittarius A, asterisk. That black hole will continue to govern the silent night. Its gravity will still hold the remnants of what once was dead stars, cold dust, dark matter. It will feed occasionally, not on light, but on the quiet collisions of fading worlds. When it does, it will flare briefly, one last heartbeat of the galactic core before returning to its slumber. Somewhere within its shadow, the information of everything the Milky Way ever was will remain encoded. The faint memory of our sun, our planet, our lives. Every photon, every orbit, every whisper of energy that ever existed will still ripple faintly in the geometry of space-time. The black hole will remember long after the stars forget. In the far future, the universe will enter what physicists call the degenerate era. The brilliant drama of starlight will give way to quieter characters, white dwarfs cooling into black dwarfs, neutron stars spinning ever slower, and planets drifting alone through cosmic frost. The galaxies will no longer glow, but they will still move. Gravity will continue its work, pulling remnants together, fusing, collapsing, and sometimes awakening black holes that have slept for eons. It's strange to imagine such silence, to think of the night sky without stars, no constellations, no Milky Way, only darkness stretching in every direction. But that darkness is not absence, it is continuity. The energy that once blazed as starlight will still exist, diffused and cold, but never gone. Entropy, the tendency of things to spread out to equalize, is not death. It is completion. The universe will not end with violence, but with rest. Even then, the black holes will endure. For quadrillions of years, they will be the only lights in the darkness, glowing faintly with Hawking radiation as they slowly evaporate. Sagittarius A, times by then merged into some larger remnant of galaxies long gone, will fade particle by particle. Each emission will carry away a trace of its mass, a last whisper of its memory. In the final moments, it will release everything it ever consumed, not as form but as energy, a final exhale into the cold. When the last black hole vanishes, there will be no more structure, only the thin, quiet hum of subatomic particles drifting through an infinite void. Time itself will lose meaning, for without motion, without change, there is no way to measure it. The universe will have entered its final state, the dark era, the eternal sleep of creation. And yet even that is not truly the end. Some theorists suggest that quantum fluctuations, those tiny, restless ripples of energy that fill even the emptiest vacuum, might one day ignite again. From that faint disturbance, a new universe could bloom. Space would expand, light would return, and the cycle would begin anew. The cosmos, it seems, does not end. It dreams. Perhaps Sagittarius A times, and all the black holes like it, are seeds of that next awakening. Each one could carry within it the blueprint of a future cosmos, a compressed memory of laws and constants, ready to be reborn. The heart of the Milky Way might one day explode outward as the first moment of another universe, its silence breaking into a new dawn. We can't know for certain, and maybe that's the beauty of it. The future of the stars is not something we can witness, only imagine. Yet in that imagining lies a kind of immortality. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing the light of things that no longer exist, stars that died before humanity even began to dream. The photons that reach your eyes are their final messages, their way of saying, "We were here, we mattered, We shone, and so will we. One day, the trace of Earth's orbit, the echo of our civilization's radio signals, the glow of our sun, will all fade. But the memory of that light will continue, carried in waves in gravity, in the curvature of the cosmos itself. Sagittarius A times will keep those memories safe until even it too dissolves. Perhaps that's all any of us can ask for: to shine, to leave behind warmth, and to trust that somewhere in the great unfolding of time, that light will find its way again. The stars have always known this truth. They burn not to last but to give. And when their light finally rests, it becomes the foundation upon which new worlds are born. So let the stars sleep when their time comes. Their dreams will build the next universe, and the heartbeat of Sagittarius A times will continue, not in matter or light, but in the eternal rhythm that binds everything together, the quiet certainty that even in the deepest night, the cosmos still remembers how to glow. Imagine the universe asleep, not in darkness or death, but in a deep, endless dream. A dream of stars being born and dying, of galaxies spinning like petals on an invisible tide of consciousness, rising to look back at the cosmos and whisper, "I see you." Maybe this has always been its purpose: not to exist, but to remember. In every culture across every age, humans have intuited that the world itself might be alive in some hidden way. The ancients called it the world soul, the divine order, the cosmic mind. Today our language is different. We speak of quantum fields, space-time entropy, but the intuition remains. There is pattern, there is rhythm, there is awareness threaded through the laws of physics, subtle but undeniable. If you look closely, you see it everywhere. In the swirl of a galaxy's arms, in the spiral of a seashell, in the double helix of DNA. The same geometry repeats at every scale, as if the universe were sketching the same signature over and over again, insisting gently, "I am one thing wearing a billion faces." Sagittarius A times the black heart of the Milky Way might be one of those faces. From a human distance, it looks like pure negation, an abyss that consumes all it touches. Yet, in its hunger lies order. It gathers, it balances, it sustains. Without it, our galaxy would unravel. What appears as destruction is in truth a deeper kind of creation, the dark half of the universal pulse. So perhaps the universe dreams through its black holes. Perhaps they are not wounds, but eyes looking inward rather than out. Every particle that falls in might be an idea returning to its source. Every photon, a memory reabsorbed into the great mind. If that sounds poetic, it's because poetry is the only language vast enough to hold the physics of mystery. Quantum theory already hints that observation and reality are entangled, that the act of looking shapes what is seen. Maybe the cosmos requires eyes like ours to complete itself, to make the dream coherent. Without consciousness, it would still exist, but it would not know that it exists. We are the awareness, blooming within its infinite sleep. You might picture it like this. The universe exhales, and matter forms galaxies, stars, life. The universe inhales, and everything returns energy, memory, time. Between those breaths lies eternity. Sagittarius A times is one of those pauses, one of those deep inhales. It gathers the stories the universe has told, compresses them into silence and waits. When the time is right, that silence becomes fertile again. Out of it, new expansion, new stars, new eyes to see, Maybe this has happened countless times already. Maybe our Big Bang was simply the exhale of another black hole, another dream collapsing into itself and waking as something new. In that sense, the universe is not a single event, but a cycle of awakenings, birth memory, rest, rebirth, an infinite consciousness dreaming infinite variations of itself. Even now, you are part of that dream. Your thoughts, those quiet electrical storms in your brain, are small echoes of cosmic creation. Every spark across a synapse mirrors the collisions of particles that formed the first atoms. Every breath you take reflects the expansion and contraction of space. You are a miniature cosmos aware of itself for a brief, miraculous moment. It's easy to forget that. We live within boundaries of days, of years of mortality, and it's natural to see ourselves as small. But size is not significance. The same laws that bind galaxies also bind hearts. Gravity and love both pull things together. Entropy and memory both scatter them apart. In every gesture of the universe, there is symmetry. If the universe dreams itself, then you reading this are part of the dream remembering its own story. When you look at the night sky, you are not looking outward, you are looking backward into your own origin. Those stars are your ancestors. That light older than humanity has traveled all this way just to meet your gaze. One day that light will fade. The stars will cool, the galaxies will merge, and the cosmos will quiet. But even then, the dream will not end. It will shift, just as it always has, from fire to shadow, from noise to silence, from chaos to calm. In that final stillness, perhaps the universe will reflect on itself as we do and wonder, was it worth it? And the answer written across every photon, every atom, every heartbeat will be yes, because even a brief existence is infinite when seen from within. Even a flicker of consciousness is enough to make the cosmos meaningful. The last observers, whoever or whatever they may be, will stand beneath a dim sky and feel what you feel now, awe, tenderness, belonging. They will understand that the darkness above them is not emptiness, but origin, that the universe is not dying, only dreaming itself back into being. And when the final black holes, including Sagittarius A times, evaporate into faint whispers of light, that light will spread through the endless void, carrying everything that ever was the laughter of civilizations, the warmth of suns, memory of stars, the breath of life. The universe will dissolve into its own echo, glowing softly with the sum of its experience. Perhaps that glow will ignite another beginning, perhaps not. Either way, the dream will continue, because dreaming is what the universe does. It cannot stop imagining itself shaping and reshaping its reflection. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, remember you are part of that imagination. Your heartbeat is the echo of galactic rhythm. Your breath is the rhythm of stars. When you close your eyes, you are not falling into emptiness. You are returning to the same vast silence that gave you life. The universe is dreaming, and in that dream, for a little while it dreamed of you.